What is going on, guys and gals? It's Phoenix, bringing you guys another episode of All Talk Wrestling Top 10 Countdown. And we have ourselves a gigantic countdown going on today. And what I mean by that is we're going to be counting down what I believe are the 10 greatest big men to have ever competed in the WWE. Now, what definition can we use as a big man? Is it somebody who stands over a certain height? Is it somebody who weighs a certain amount? Not 100% sure how we can clearly define what a big man is. So I guess for this list, just for the sake of who I have on this list, we'll call this the greatest superstars in WWE history, the big men that I'm going to be counting down. And they're going to be superstars who range from 280 pounds or more at any point in their career. So I'm not going to really factor height into it too much because some of them were just really good, still considered dominant big men, even though in some senses they weren't. But compared to the normal peer that they went up against, they were significantly bigger, significantly stronger, significantly any of the above. So yes, this list is going to be inclusive of all superstars who were at least 280 pounds or more during their time in the WWE. Also, there are a couple of other factors that I have into this list. We're going to be factoring in accomplishments, legacy, impact, and that's pretty much about it. But that accomplishment part is going to be a huge part as to where I rank these superstars at. So there are going to be some names that are left off the list. There are going to be some names in spots on the list that you're not going to agree with. But these are only facts that I have to support my opinion. My opinion is not the end all be all. It's not the all say. It's not law. You are more than welcome to debate, discuss my opinion otherwise. Do so in the comments or even send me a message if you are able to get in contact with me. And just let me know where I probably fucked up, or let me know where my list is not right or not correct. But without further ado, I want to go ahead and get into this list of the top 10 greatest big men to ever compete in the WWE. Now, what I'm going to do beforehand is I'm going to give a shout out to those who could have made this list but didn't quite make the cut. So I'm going to give you guys a moment to reflect on, in my chronological or numeric order, these are my top 10 honorable mentions for greatest big men in WWE history. All right, and now that we have that list out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right into it. At number 10, we have Andre the Giant. Now, before people start rioting at me, I believe that Andre the Giant is one of the greatest superstars of all time just based off of the impact that he had, but he wasn't the most accomplished superstar. As a matter of fact, I believe that the greatest moment that Andre the Giant potentially produced in his career was being body slammed by Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania. And I don't know, like, if your greatest accomplishment is somebody else getting the better of you, that really doesn't stand out to me. But he is a pioneer and he is an icon, one of the most legendary figures. Hell, he has an entire battle royal at WrestleMania named after him. So there was no way that I can leave him off my list. Based off of accomplishment and abilities as a big man, I really can't put him above anybody else that I have on this list. Health may have played a part in that. Stubbornness as a superstar for his booking probably played a part of this. I don't know. Like, I've always had love for Andre the Giant, but I've never seen him as the greatest big man of all time. Like, purely off of size, yeah, you can put him up there, but I don't know. Off of accomplishment, I really can't say the same thing. I mean, he's a one-time WWE champion and a one-time tag team champion, but he has the shortest reign as a tag team, or I'm sorry, as a WWE champion of all time, 1 minute and 48 seconds. Like, if I have to put you at the top of my list, you can't be the world champion for 1 minute and 48 seconds and expect me to look at you and say, hey, that guy's the GOAT, because that's not how I'm looking at it. But either way it goes, I have Andre the Giant ranked in at number 10 as my greatest big man of all time. All right, and at number 9, we have Braun Strowman. Now, at the expense of getting beat down by people who may see me in public because I'm putting Braun Strowman above Andre the Giant, just allow me to explain my reasoning as to why I'm positioning them the way that I am. Braun Strowman is a one-time Universal Champion. He's a one-time Intercontinental Champion. He's won 2 tag team championships, one-time Money in the Bank winner. He's a Greatest Royal Rumble winner back in 2018, and he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale in 2019. So he has a stacked amount of accomplishments, but let's just be honest here. As far as big men with the size and weight that Braun Strowman has, he's probably the most athletically gifted big man that we've ever seen in the WWE. Maybe not 100%, but to what I've seen so far for a guy of his size and the way that he's been booked and the way that his character is, like, I don't know. Braun Strowman has an opportunity with the trajectory of his career to eventually crack that top 5. But right now, because he's so young and probably the youngest and the most upstart of anybody on this list, he's good enough for number 9 on mine. All right, coming in at number 8, we have Diesel. Now, Diesel is a one-time WWE champion. He's also won the Intercontinental Championship one time and is a 2-time tag team champion. Diesel could be higher on my list, but the only issue is Diesel won the WWE Championship. I think it was back in 94, 95. So he's a one-time WWE champion, and his run as the WWE champion was kind of lackluster. It really wasn't memorable in some instances. His SummerSlam match for the WWE championship against Mabel? Yeah, not exactly one of the greatest of all time. And him as a big man, I don't know. I feel like his workability as a big man, it doesn't stack up to some of the other people that I have on this list. But Diesel's good enough for number 9. I won't disrespect him any further than that. Number 8. He's good enough for number 8. So Diesel, 8th greatest big man in WWE history. All right, at number 7, we have Mick Foley. Now, I know most people are not going to consider Mick Foley to be a big man just off the strength that he's not really that tall. I think he's about a smooth 6'3" or 6'2", something around that. But he weighed well over 280 pounds. So that's good enough criteria in order to put him on this list. But Mick Foley is a 3-time WWE champion. He's a 1-time hardcore champion. And he's an 8-time tag team champion as well. So Mick Foley has had a lot of accomplishments in his career. He's always been studded as this big guy, especially during him and Kane or him and the Undertaker's feuds. He was always known as a bigger guy. And then guys like Big Show came into the WWE and kind of dwarfed him. But for a good amount of time, he was known as this big-ish man. So I mean, he fits the criteria to get on my list. He's the greatest hardcore legend in WWE history. So at number 7, we have Mick Foley on my top 10 greatest big men in WWE history. Moving along to number 6, we have Batista. Now, Batista isn't the tallest big man, but he's a big man regardless. He clocked in at least 280, close to 290 pounds. But Batista is a 6-time world champion, 4-time tag team champion, and he's a Royal Rumble winner on 2 different occasions, 2005 and 2014. Batista could have been one of the greatest of all time had he stayed in the WWE a little bit longer, but I know that his acting career ended up taking off a little bit more. So I'm not going to hold that against him. But as far as dudes of his size, I mean, he was one of the best booked big men in the WWE. Again, he probably wouldn't have that same big man standard because of his height. You know, he's not the tallest guy in the world, but he is one of the biggest dudes in the company. So definitely got to give him his just due. I'll go ahead and throw Batista number 6. And at number 5, we have Kane. Now, Kane could have easily been in my top 4 for the greatest big man, but I'll go ahead and sit him here at number 5. He's a 2-time world champion, a 1-time ECW champion, which I'm not counting as a world championship. Don't ask me to. It's not. Fuck it. It was a glorified mid-card championship, but that's neither here nor there. 1-time hardcore champion, 2-time intercontinental champion, and he was the winner of the Money in the Bank briefcase in 2010, 9-time tag team champion as well. So Kane is definitely one of the most accomplished big men. He had one of the greatest debuts of all time. He was one of the most carefully booked, superstars as far as big men are concerned. He currently owns the record for most Royal Rumble appearances and for the most Royal Rumble eliminations overall. So he's very much accomplished. He's one of the biggest dudes in the company. So I'll give Kane his just due. He's the number 5 greatest big man in my opinion. At number 4, we have The Big Show. Okay, so The Big Show is the more simplified version of what a big man is, and his name indicates that a lot. The Big Show, he's a big man, but he's one of the more accomplished ones as well. He's a 4-time world champion, 1-time ECW champion, not counting as a world championship, 3-time hardcore champion. He's won the United States and Intercontinental Championship 1 time on each occasion. He's an 8-time tag team champion, and he's the 2015 Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner. Big Show is definitely the Mount Rushmore of the big men. Yes, he gets that spot to me 100%. He's got the size, he's got the weight, he has the longevity as far as a man of his size and weight being in the WWE. Wrestling altogether, like, it's ludicrous how long he's been able to do this. He's trimmed down a lot, so that's really helped him sustain his career, but overall I gotta give it to him. Like, you could probably argue that anybody on this list 4 to 2 could have flip-flopped any other way, but I'll go ahead and give it to Big Show here at number 4. At number 3, we have Brock Lesnar. Now, again, Brock Lesnar is one of those guys that, based off of height alone, you probably wouldn't consider a big man, but the dude at one point in his career clocked close to 290 pounds. So yes, he's a big-ass dude. Brock Lesnar is a 5-time world champion, a 3-time universal champion. He is the 2002 King of the Ring winner and the 2003 Royal Rumble winner, while also adding the Money in the Bank contract to his resume in 2019. He's probably the greatest combat athlete in the WWE all time, but as far as a big man, a guy of his size, his abilities, his speed, his just everything that he is, there's no way that I could have ever said that he's not one of the greatest big men of all time. One of the best workers in WWE. Unfortunately, he had that nearly decade-long period where he wasn't in the WWE, and he probably could have cemented himself as the greatest had he been here. But for the time in between, and with the vast majority of his young prime only being 2.5 years, I feel like number 3 is good for Brock Lesnar in this instance. So we'll give it to him on that one. At number 2, we have Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan is a big-ish dude as far as size and weight is concerned. He clocked well above 280 pounds, especially in the prime of his career during the golden era. Hulk Hogan's a 6-time world champion, 1-time tag team champion, and he's the winner of the 1990 and 1991 Royal Rumble. He's probably one of the most exposed and overpushed superstars in WWE history. No crack at John Cena at all, because he can definitely be up there, and no crack at Triple H either, because feel like you can put him on that list as well. But when it comes down to guys of his size, his caliber, and his ability, just for the time that he was in, yeah, Hulk was definitely one of the most accomplished big men. Now, he was a dwarf among most of the big men that he had to go against. Andre the Giant, Big John Studd, King Kong Bundy, just to kind of name a couple of them. But, you know, for a guy his size who really and truthfully, he towers over most of his, you know, regular peers. I guess for whatever it's worth, and maybe it's just personally, I can't put him any higher than that. But yeah, Hulk Hogan's good for 2 on this list. And at number 1, we have The Undertaker. Now, The Undertaker, to me, is the greatest big man in WWE history. 7-time world champion, 1-time hardcore champion. He's a 6-time tag team champion. He's the winner of the 2007 Royal Rumble, and he has a WrestleMania record of 25-2, including 21 straight wins. Regardless of whatever records may come around, that's one of the most earth-shattering things that anybody has done in the modern day time in the WWE. I think outside of ungodly championship runs by Bruno Sammartino and the Fabulous Moolah, that's one record that's probably never going to be broken. The Dead Man had been one of the most consistent superstars over the course of his career, from the time that he debuted at Survivor Series 1990, all the way up until now. Like, he's been one of the greatest, most dominant big men. He's gone against superstars that have dwarfed him. He's gone against superstars that he's towered against. And for the vast majority of his career, he had been consistent. Like, to me, when you look at the greatest big men in the WWE, you look at a picture of The Undertaker and everybody else is standing there admiring it. To me, in my personal opinion, all I have is the facts to back it up, but it's not a fact itself. Undertaker, numero uno, greatest big man ever to compete in the WWE. And that's my list. Let me know what you guys think. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. I'll continue to put out more wrestling content for you guys as much as I possibly can. Thank you guys for watching this episode of All Talk Wrestling Countdown, and we'll see you guys soon.